It's time now for a rundown on some of our Alaska stories for this Monday morning, November 28th, 2016. A somber and horrifying news story on Friday afternoon. 4 people found dead at a local hotel. Apparently a murder-suicide. The man shooting his mother, his wife, and his 9-month-old daughter. No motive at this point, and the type of firearm used has not been disclosed, but the police did say that it was a semi-automatic. High winds were forecast for the Aleutians over the weekend, with gusts as high as 95 miles per hour. And there was another sad story. A North Pole woman found dead after a Fairbanks area fire. The 43-year-old apparently found dead in the remnants of the trailer home, the only source of heat being a wood stove. It is important to note that she did have a lot of experience with wood stoves. Promising quantities of gold and silver have been found in what they're calling an underexplored area near the border of Canada in the Tok area. And an Anchorage Assembly member is planning a new sales tax ordinance for Anchorage, a goods and services sales tax. He's planning on introducing it to the rest of the Anchorage Assembly sometime in the next couple of weeks, and it would have to be approved by 60% of Anchorage voters in April in order for it to take effect. Governor Walker, who ended up cutting a lot of funding short for all sorts of communities across the state, is now looking to local leaders to help him get the legislators to approve his plan. He's basically asking all the municipalities and localities to come behind his plan and serve as his lobbyists with the legislature. Couple of marijuana stories. The first marijuana sale in Juneau went off without a hitch on Wednesday, and then it looks like a marijuana store got robbed on Thanksgiving Day in Anchorage. Not so much of its marijuana, though. It got robbed of its electronics, including its Wi-Fi router. Who takes a Wi-Fi router out of a marijuana store? Also, the closure of the prison in Seton has ended the state's best faith-based treatment program, according to the state's own numbers. The TLC program ended when the governor decided to cut funding. Also, inmates at the Anvil Mountain Correctional Center have been prepped for work on the North Slope. Once they get out, they still have to apply like everyone else, but they are now coming with a particular edge, a certification card showing that they've been through this training. A Juneau man dragged a store employee with his vehicle after allegedly stealing items that the man was trying to get back. Also, the latest trend here in the state is that lending is down as businesses are facing a continued downturn across the state. And the very first of its kind, the state of Alaska is suing a company over an abandoned barge in a slough near Bethel. And a new 300-mile sled dog race has been set for December, the Tolovana 300. Be a chance for mushers to qualify for both the Iditarod and the Yukon Quest. The newest reports highlight the market conditions for Alaska's seafood industry generally looking up, despite the fact that Russia is continuing to ban import of Alaska seafood. Police in Anchorage are going to be returning to foot patrols by the end of this month, something that they are calling a welcome change for downtown Anchorage. The Kenai Peninsula Borough has opted in to the statewide permanent vehicle registration, something which will allow people who have older vehicles and trailers to not have to register them every single year. You buy a permanent registration once and then you're done. An ambitious state study aims to reduce Matsu moose crashes, funded with $418,000 in partnership with Utah State University. They're looking at why moose and cars keep colliding with each other. A Wasilla man died after crashing into a telephone pole on Thanksgiving Day. He was not wearing his seatbelt. And new mapping shows the extent of yellow cedar die-off, not just in Alaska, but all across British Columbia as well. It's massive, and the analysis forecasts even bigger losses in the future. Canadians are searching for a lost nuke near Prince Rupert. 2-ton dummy bomb was dropped in 1950. A new study notes that bowhead whales might be the longest-lived mammals on the planet. The story at ADN.com actually shows some of the artifacts that they have pulled out of living whales, artifacts that are hundreds of years old. We're talking about harpoons and other tools that were used to hunt the beasts. And apparently, Clinkets were among the code talkers back in World War II, something that even the rest of the Tlingit tribe didn't know about until just a couple of years ago. Strangers have pitched in to help a Moose Creek family after their generator was stolen, something that's kind of a bright spot in all of this negative news for this Monday morning. And if you think that Trump's plan for cutting regulations looks an awful lot like Senator Dan Sullivan's bill, well, you're right, it does. And you can look at some of the analysis for that today at adn.com. And lastly, for this Monday morning, we see a story in sitnews.us that Trump's grandfather took part in the gold rush in the Klondike, not so much to mine, but to mine the miners. And that is our Alaska news for this Monday morning. It is November 28th, 2016. And if you like what I'm doing, make sure you check it out online and hit me up on Patreon. The website is radiofreespeech.com. I'm Steve Floyd, radiofreespeech.com. Thank you very much.